Peace. Welcome to the YouTube live book reading of The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh Anta, edited and translated by Mercer Cook. And I'm your moderator and narrator, Uriel Riley. Peace, YouTube. Welcome. Oh, whew, what a day so far. Manifested some greatness. Yeah. We have to be grateful and thankful. So grateful and thankful for this life. Here we are, live from the light here in LA. It's book reading time. Peace, you two. All right. We are live. We pick up in the 6th chapter. This is the 24th edition of this book reading. In the 6th chapter, the Egyptian race as seen and treated by anthropologists. And where we pick up is page 131, where we left off down in the middle. All right, here we go. For those reading along and for the playlist, I will put a brief vocabulary in the description when it's complete uploading. So here we go. Petrie has published a study on the races of Egypt in the pre-dynastic and proto-dynastic, in which he takes only account. In addition to the stereotypic, he distinguishes 6 different types. The alkaline type, characteristic of a white-skinned Libyan race. The type with plaited beard, belonging to a race of invaders, perhaps from the shores of the Red Sea. The type with pointed nose, no doubt from the Arabian desert, and the type with tilted nose, from Middle Egypt. The type with beard sticking straight out in front, from Lower Egypt. The type with straight nasal septum, from Upper Egypt. Judging from these representations, there were 7 different racial types in Egypt during the epochs considered. In the following pages, we shall see that the study of the skeletons hardly authorizes such conclusions. Peace, YouTube. Welcome. We are in the 6th chapter. Down at the bottom of page 131, live from the light here in LA. And book reading time, the peaceful part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. Welcome. That classification shows how frivolous and unwarranted were the criteria applied to describe the Egyptian race. I had intended to examine microscopically the density of the pores in the epidermis of mummies, but the limited supply of specimens would not have produced any valid conclusion on the scale covering the entire Egyptian population. In any case, we can see that anthropology has failed to establish the existence of any white Egyptian race. If anything, it would tend to establish the opposite. Nevertheless, in current textbooks, the problem is suppressed. Most often, they merely take it on themselves to assert categorically that the Egyptians were whites. All honest laymen then get the impressions that such an assertion must necessarily be based on solid studies previously conducted, but that, as we have seen, is simply not true. Hmm. It's not true. You have to shine the light. The truth shall set you free. And that's why history is so important, right? So important. Because then you can say, oh, I was told this, and actually it's this. Now it makes sense. Yeah. You can put dots together with accurate, accurate history. We do this with our genealogy and with cousins and stuff. Have you ever had a cousin that may have been someone um, that had a child out of wedlock, and they say, "Wow, I don't know who their father is," and then you come across someone in that path, and you say, "Wow, my cousin looks just like them." You know, this is a part of that light coming on. So now you can say, oh, they worked like this and their father or mother was like this. Well, I can definitely see that in them. And so that relieves a lot of trauma when you can know where you come from. Whereas if you don't know, it keeps you confused. And that's why I do this channel, is to make sure that we're not confused. I know I'm not. And so I can shine that light. And as a master fitness trainer, I can shine a light on different angles that you may not see. So thank you so much for being here, reading books with us. Hi, is heart, love, and honor. Page 132. This is how the minds of so many generations have been warped. On the south of the northwest quadrant lay the teeming black world of Africa, separated from the great white race by an impassable desert barrier, the Sahara, which forms so large a part of southern flatlands. Thus isolated and at the same time unfitted by ages of tropical life for any effective intrusion among the white race, the Negro and Negroid peoples remained without any influence on the development of early civilization. We may then exclude both of these external races, the straight haired, round headed, yellow skinned Mongoloids on the east, and the woolly haired, long headed, dark skinned Negroids on the south, from any share of the origins of subsequent development of civilization. That is typical of current statements in textbooks today. The dictatorial nature of Breasted's assertion is equaled only by the absence of any foundation, for the author gets caught in his own contradictions by claiming, on the one hand, that the Sahara has always separated Negroes from the Nile, and on the other hand, that this valley was their only road to the north. A glance at the map of Africa shows that one can go from any point on the continent to the Nile Valley without crossing a desert. See, this needs to be known. Definitely gotta put a pin right here. You don't have to cross the desert. But see, if you know Africa's settings, then you know this already. It's not a guessing idea. So, very important. Thank you so much. Yes, for the likes and subs. We're pushing towards 700 on this peaceful part of YouTube where we read books. So, honor and love. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy. We're in the sixth chapter, page 132 in the middle. And that is typical of current statements in textbooks today. The dictatorial nature of Breasted's assertion is equaled only by the absence of any foundation, for the author gets caught in his own contradiction by claiming that, on one hand, the Sahara has always been separated Negroes from the Nile, and on the other hand, that the valley was the only road to the north. At glance at the map of Africa shows that one can go from any point on the continent to the Nile Valley without crossing a desert. Breasted's ideas stem from an erroneous conception of the peopling of the continent. Instead of there having always been blacks all over Africa, stagnating in little clusters while Egyptian civilization was developing, a mass of evidence inclines us to believe that the blacks first swarmed over that valley before spreading out in all directions in successive migrations. This is also attested by the anthropological data already cited, indicating the presence of the Negro in the Nile Valley as early as prehistoric times. Furthermore, the Negro character of Egyptian civilization, as it is recognized today, rules out any possibility that this civilization was a monopoly of a white race. Numerous authors circumvent the difficulty by speaking of whites with red skin or whites with black skin. This does not seem incongruous to them, for as soon as a race has created a civilization, there can be no more possibility of it being black. Mm, mm, mm. And this is part of the understanding you'll start to see as you really progress, especially if you're highly melanated in different parts of the world. It's an anti-blackness sentiment. And this is with them making up this false reality to think that they're better than someone else. And like there's a hierarchy. So, but we know that's completely false. And that's what the Olympics showed us, back when that really rhetoric was being revved up at it in the Nazi eras and stuff. And Hitler thought he had some supreme athletes and they got destroyed by Black Americans, and Africans, of course, always are the number one in long distance. So this stuff has been false. That ideology is only hurting other people, for it breeds a false reality. You know, that's what the truth helps us with. It gives us the grounding to know, not guess, not speculate, but to know. Hi, it's Heart Love Royce. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, it's Heart Love. Peace and honor to you. All right, here we go. We're on page 133 at the top. For the Greeks, Africa was Libya. This expression was already inaccurate since many other people lived there, along with the so-called Libyans, who figured among the whites on the northern periphery, or the Mediterranean if you prefer. As such, they were distinct from a great number of segments of whites with brown or red skin, Egyptians. In a textbook for pupils in Sequime, eighth grade, we read, a black is distinguished less by the color of his skin, for there are whites with black skin, than by his features, thick lips, flat nose, etc. Only by similar definitions has one been able to whiten the Egyptian race, and this is the clearest proof of its blackness. Breasted stands on the problem of the Egyptian race is typically that of contemporary Egyptologists who, better informed than their predecessors, simply evade the topic by a few statements presented as if supported by previous scientific data. It is an intellectual swindle. Mm, mm, mm. Definitely. Mhm. Here ends the critical part of this volume. In the earlier chapters, we have reviewed the various types of these concerning the origin of Egyptian race. Each of these belongs to one of different types outlined above. I've selected them not because they are presented by some authority or other, but because they have been advanced with the maximum number of details enable us to expose the unsurmountable contradictions that all of them contain. This review is therefore quite complete indeed. The overall picture that emerges, the general failure of all those attempts to attain their objective, does not contain the slightest factor susceptible of convincing the reader. We now move on to the constructive part of this book and to present the various facts that prove the Negro origin of the ancient Egyptians. Chapter 6 is complete. Yes! Woo! Another chapter. We did it again. The origin, the African origin of civilization, myth or reality by Dr. Cheikh Anta. Edited and translated by Mercer Cook. Shaking it up on YouTube. Woo! Read it, folks. Completing another chapter. Divine days and nights. Peace. Awesome. Oh, man. I wish all is well. I wish you are having such a magnificent day and evening. And so, tonight, thank you so much, Highest Heart Love. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Really do. Really appreciate y'all. Um, this is that peaceful part of YouTube, and that's what we have to do. Shine the light and be uplifting to the people. And you won't hear this channel isn't for complaining or anything like that. It's literally to inspire, to give information for freely out there and to shine our light and encourage you to shine your light. I tell, and I've written it in a poem when I release my new book coming out. I know I just released one, but I'm releasing a new book of poems. And I say, you can't stop me. You can only encourage me. I can't be stopped. And that's what the energy that we're shining to all of you is. live from the light, just like the sun, cannot be stopped. Know it, just like I know it. God cannot be stopped. You can encourage me, but it's not going to stop. So, highest heart, love, and honor. Thank you so much. Also, oh, appreciate you. Oh, efforts, credits, highest heart, love. I don't know how you would do that. I really appreciate that. I don't even ask for it, so I'm very honored. Thank you. Highest heart, love, and honor to you. Let's give some more honor to our friends and family by having a glass of love water, live libation. Completed another chapter, right? Highest heart, love. Yes, the champions are here. We have to stay focused. I love you. I love you. Ooh, I love you. I love you. Oh, that's some great love, boy. Wishing the best for all of us. Keep shining your light. We're the champions. We have to keep going, right? Saturn energy is right there. All right. I'm going to have a beautiful pineapple, some nourishment, and I will be praying for all of us and meditating tonight. We are going. I wanted to tell y'all, we're going to the gold cloud. Going to the gold cloud tonight. Yes. Highest heart, love, and honor. I love you. Ay, 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 ay. Love, 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 love you. Oh. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Love, 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 love. You, you. You know it, because I love myself. Peace, peace. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. We completed another chapter. We'll see you when we convene. Peace, peace.